Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Trey, and let's talk about the Insomniac Spider-Man. Did you know that Miles Morales is the one true Spider-Man now? If you didn't, well, Insomniac is letting you know that, yes, that's right. Peter Parker is going to be retired, and Miles is going to be the Insomniac universe main Spider-Man. And I can't defend it. I mean, what y'all want from me? Because I already know, y'all already know that I love me some Miles Morales. And I love both Peter Parker and Miles Morales. And like I said, right now, how I wanted Miles Morales to be the teenage Spider-Man, the young Spider-Man that goes through the high school, college nonsense, while I want Peter Parker to be the adult Spider-Man that I've grew up with, because that's another thing that a lot of people don't understand, that a lot of us grew up with Peter Parker married with Mary Jane Watson. So for me, I never really cared for Peter being a high schooler and stuff like that. I respect the history of it, but most of the shows that when I was growing up, Peter was already either in college or he was already established as Spider-Man. It's only this recent trend of him being in the high school stuff is to the point where I'm over it, honestly, because reading the comic books, he's grown. He got a wife, and even then, he was expecting a baby before they fucked that shit over. So I want Miles to be the young teenage Spider-Man. You know, honestly, that's the role of, if you're gonna have two Spider-Mans in the main continuity, that is gonna be your main focus. I want Miles to be the young, hip, teenage Spider-Man that goes through the high school nonsense, that goes through balancing life with school Spider-Man. While I want Peter Parker to be the adult Spider-Man who's married with Mary Jane Watson. And yes, he might sometimes have trouble with money or whatever, but his duty is to his family and his duty is to saving New York. That's what I want. That is the Peter Parker I want. That's the Peter Parker I fell in love with when I was growing up. Even with the shows and when I was watching, that's the Peter Parker. That's the Peter Parker that I've always envisioned. Now you got Insomniac Spider-Man, where he's like 26 years old and he's retiring, and then even in the game, he's like, the city doesn't need me. Why do the city need me when it got you? You know, basically he's talking to Miles and MJ, and in the game, he's being kind of cucked out. And I know some people are like, oh, I like it or whatever, and that's great that you like it. You know, if you like it, I love it. You know what I'm saying? But don't sit up here and try to diminish people's opinions about it, and don't try to diminish the fact that, yeah, they are trying to replace Peter Parker for Miles Morales, because even then when I was playing the Miles Morales video game, Peter done faced off against Rhino several times over, but all of a sudden he can't get it together in order for but then while he's working with Miles, and then you know they had this moment where Miles unlocked his electricity powers to save Peter Parker. And even then in the game, how they defeat Sandman? Using Miles' powers, like as if Peter isn't a scientist himself and wasn't smart enough to figure out how do you stop Sandman when you did Sandman before. Like, I hate when a character get a protege or a partner per se, and now that the partner's there, the main hero done forgot how to do main hero shit without the partner. You know what I'm saying? So it was kind of one of those weird kind of situation. And Insomniac is basically saying, yeah, Miles is going to be the main Spider-Man for our universe. Yeah, I mean, at this point, that's basically what he's saying, you know? I mean, that's basically what they're saying. Am I saying that Peter Parker is not going to come back? He most likely will. But at the same time, it looks like they're setting up, you know, the predecessors, because they even introduced at the end Sydney Moon. And if you guys know who Sydney Moon is, y'all know that she's Silk, and she was the spider that was bit by she was bitten by the same radioactive spider that bit Peter Parker and was locked up for years and all that kind of nonsense, blase crap. But I hate her origins, and I just don't like the character. If y'all really want to talk about a knockoff of Peter Parker, Silk. Like, When I tell you Silk is literally a knockoff Peter Parker, she is literally a female version of Peter Parker. The only thing is that she has organic webbing instead. That's what she got. That's what she got. So she got the usual Peter Parker powers. It's just cut in half, and she literally can fabricate costumes and silk things together with her organic webbing. Yeah, that's what she is. And when I tell you she's a nerd like Peter Parker, she works at the Daily Planet like Peter Parker. Like, she is literally Asian female Peter Parker. Like, there is no difference with that character, and that's really saying something, honestly. You know what I mean? Like, but now Insomniac is saying it, and then I'm like, I can't really, y'all, because I know y'all probably was like, man, I can't wait for Trey to try to defend this one. No, Trey can't defend it. Trey can't defend it because I don't even agree with sidelining Peter Parker for Miles. Like, the only way that would happen if Mary Jane and Peter Parker were married and they were expecting a baby at the time, then I can see sidelining Peter Parker, or he's going to retire for a bit or take some time because Mary Jane is pregnant with their baby. Makes perfect sense because they've done it with the clones. If you guys know about the clone saga, y'all know that Peter Parker got replaced by his clone because MJ was expecting a baby, and they wanted to settle down, and he wanted to be a family man and be there for Mary Jane Watson, which I understand. You know what I'm saying? I get it. I understand. Like, you know, hey, your wife is pregnant. Let's accommodate to her needs and her wants. So it makes sense. But Miles just replacing Peter Parker just for the fuck of it, when Peter still got about a good 10 to 20 years left on him? No. Or if you were going to do that, you should have had it where Miles got his powers, but he never shared it with Peter Parker, and he never became Spider-Man until an event happened where in the second game, Peter maybe had died off, like the Ultimate comic book, because that's the only way that works, is if you're, you know what I'm saying? Because even in the main continuity, they're both doing their own thing. That's another thing that a lot of people don't understand. Like, yeah, they live in the same city, but Miles is mostly in Brooklyn. Peter Parker is mostly Queens and the rest of New York City itself. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that Miles don't help out the other city, but he's really there in Brooklyn most of the time, and they don't really cross paths like you would think. In the comic books, Miles and Peter barely show up in each other's comic books, and they're literally in the same goddamn thing. So if you were going to even do this whole two-way thing, you should have did it kind of like how current Marvel comic books do, where Miles show up in Peter's story if Peter needs him, and vice versa. Or Peter is there to be a mentor figure for Miles when, Miles, need to figure out certain things. That's when you do that kind of stuff. You don't just do it just for the fuck of it. You know what I'm saying? And I can't blame people for getting upset about it. I can't blame people for being like, oh, they're replacing Peter Parker with Miles Morales, because that's exactly what y'all are doing. Because what they said, he's going to be the main Spider-Man from now on, and that's probably going to lead into Spider-Man 3. And it was basically Ben affirming advanced writer Brittany Morris about the ending of Spider-Man 2, where basically he said Pete's basically telling him, I got this, all of it. Gotta be Peter Parker for a while. Are you sure? It's a big city. I can handle it as long as I can still call you for advice. You don't need to. And that's what I'm saying. And then they also asked, you said basically you knew right away you wanted a playable villain. Does this also apply to the ending of the game with Miles as the main Spider-Man from now on? It always felt very natural, and I think we all collectively thought it would happen. To me, it shows great deal of evolution for Miles. At the beginning of the game, we want to see him struggle and figure out what he wants to do with his life, but by the end, we had Miles carrying the burden of saving the city and also carrying Pete when Pete wasn't strong enough to carry himself. at various points. That's what's been cool about writing a story about two Spider-Man. They're both strong, and one of them can be strong when the other is not. By the end, Miles is more confident. It's like, yeah, I got this. How much worse can things get after what we just went through? So now fans are speculating, and now people are like, hey, they're going to kill off Peter Parker in the next game. And again, I can't get mad at people rationalizing this, and all you did was, hey, you neurotic, he's gonna milk the fuck out of this. Eric July, they're gonna milk the fuck out of this because they don't like Miles anyway. But like I always say, it's always kind of funny how, like, we never really say anything about the other Spider-Man characters coming out, because let's not act like this the first Spider-Man game where we play as other Spider-Man besides Peter Parker. You know what I'm saying? So, or that Peter Parker's never been, that we never had other Spider-Man characters being replaced with Peter Parker. We've done it before, but it's kind of funny how everybody gets so upset when it comes to Miles. And Miles have went through that hero's journey, the journey that everybody was complaining about. He's went through it, but now they're using him for political gain, and that's what I hate. I hate that he's getting dragged because of the fact that he was created on a political agenda driven, but he has grown and, went through the changes that you will want for a hero to go through. But it's just now they're using him as like, hey, Black and Puerto Rican, he checks so many boxes, and that's sad, and it sucks. It really do suck. But hey, again, I can't defend it. So again, I can't blame people for being upset at it. It is what it is. But yeah. What do you guys think? Do you guys think Insomniac is correct for trying to replace Miles Morales with replacing Peter Parker with Miles Morales? I think so. I can't even defend it, and I'm a big defender of Peter Parker, so it is what it is. Let me know in the comment section below, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.